Alrighty, the Scott Snyder Justice League. Over the next few weeks or so, I'm going to be going through every single modern day Batman writer. So we're going to do Scott Snyder, we're going to do Tom King, we're going to do James Tynion IV, and eventually we're going to get to Chip Zdarsky whenever I finish reading that run. But today we're just going to be talking about Scott Snyder. A goal of mine is, honestly, to not only read every single Batman comic, but every single Detective Comics. But obviously, with the New 52, they started at #1. The first restart with Batman since when he first appeared. It's been pretty much the best. He's pretty much the definitive jumping on point for anyone wanting to read Batman. If you want to start reading Batman, the first thing anyone recommends is just City of Owls. That's the first thing. Just read that. You'll start fresh. You can start new. A comic bucket list of mine is definitely to read every single Batman comic, every single Detective Comics. But right now we're kind of sticking with 2011 to present, and I've been reading this Batman series pretty much since like 2015, 2014. And it's taken me this long, and I'm still not even caught up because I haven't finished Chip Zdarsky stuff. But let's start from the beginning. This comic book holds a special place in my heart, City of Owls, because I'd say maybe I was 12, 11 or 12. My aunt gave this to me. I'm pretty sure she got it at a thrift store somewhere. She gave this to me. I read it. I loved it. This is like one of the very first, if not the first, graphic novels I ever read. I read it. I loved it. And then I saw, wait a minute, this says 2. Where's #1? So I remember my uncle was like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, I want whatever the #1 of this is. So we went to a comic book store. I believe it was in the Finch area. I think somewhere, it was near my high school. So it was like, if you're in Toronto, it was like near Bathurst and Finch. I've only been to the store once, and it was just to get this. And essentially my uncle was like to the clerk, like, hey, we got this. It says #2. We want #1. Where's #1? So the guy went in on one of the shelves and picked this up. And this has pretty much been the start of my Batman collecting journey, because I read this, I loved it, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's #1, there's #2, is there a #3, is there #4? And sure enough, there was a #3, there was a #4, and that pretty much kickstarted this Batman collection run. Pretty much at that time, I'd only really get comics from like garage sales or church sales, or just like little at the thrift store or something. So I'd always getting like an issue here and issue there, but I'd never really got like a bunch of issues that made one story, or or just like at the time I never really got like a bunch of issues to complete a full story arc. I would just get an issue here, issue there. The only real story arc or run that I ever finished reading at that time was the Tintin books. My mom got me the box Tintin set, so that was really the only run at the time that I completed. Other than that, it was just single issues here and there. So this Batman run was the real first comic run that I ever read. So we're going to get into the run. Some of these books I read a couple years ago, some of these books I read this year, some of these books I haven't read in years. So I'm just going to try to go in my memory, go in the archives of my brain, and try to just recollect how much I enjoyed the book, give a little summary. I'm not going to go too heavy into plot details. Maybe I will. I don't want to spoil much, because I highly recommend this run. This run probably is still the best Batman run since 2011. So if you haven't read it, I don't really want to spoil much, but I will. That's kind of a lie. I might spoil some major. It's kind of hard to talk about the entirety without spoiling some details, but I'm not gonna get into like super nitty gritty details. I'll paint kind of the big picture stuff, but I'll go over it. And it's not really just the 10 books, the 51 issues, the 52 issues from this run that really completes the run. There's a bit more you should be reading. There's some that I haven't even read, but I'll just talk about the ones that I do have in my hands right now. So let's just get started with the Court of Owls, the City of Owls story arcs. Just right off the bat, people always say, oh, the Scott Snyder run, the Scott Snyder, blah, 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 blah. But it's really not just Scott Snyder. There's 4 people, 4 creative individuals that made this run what it was. #1, definitely Scott Snyder, for sure. #2, Greg Capullo. But who are 3 and 4? Well, friends, let me tell you who number 3 and 4 is. Greg Capullo is a great artist, don't get me wrong. But over the years, I kind of realized that I don't love Greg Capullo because of Greg Capullo alone. And I don't think most people love Greg Capullo because of Greg Capullo alone. You love Greg Capullo because of Greg Capullo and these 2 individuals. Where are we? Hold on. It's focusing. Let it focus. these two individuals right down here. You love Greg Capullo because of the inker Jonathan Galapian and the colorist FCO. FCO. Those two guys. His pencils are great, don't get me wrong. But there are some dudes that just can't ink Greg Capullo. And there are some dudes that just can't color Greg Capullo. Look at the Deadpool Batman issue that came out earlier this year. It was colored by Alex St. Clair, who's a great colorist, but that issue, that art just did not hit the same. You compare Batman and Deadpool to any of these books, it fails in comparison completely. So while everyone loves to say the Scott Snyder run, you're correct. He obviously wrote the run. Greg Capullo, FCO, and Jonathan Galapian. Those are the four people that made this run what it is. Pretty much everything in this series is made by those four guys. This is also something I'll talk about briefly. This is pretty much the only run in the last 15 years of Batman where 99% of the run was done by one writer and one artist. Just these two. Greg Capullo pretty much does 51 issues out of the 52 issues in this book. It's crazy. Like, when was the last time you've seen an artist stick with a writer for that long? It's like, we were really spoiled because look at the Tom King run. Oh my gosh, they would change artists in every story arc. It's never consistent. Even in that City of Bane story arc, the crap story arc at the end, they wouldn't change artists in the arc. They would change artists mid-book. Mid-book, they would change artists. And it was just like the worst. I hated that. In the James Tynion run, they were switching off artists here and there. I believe in the Chip Zdarsky run, the majority of it was George Jimenez. But even that, there was a couple fill-in artists here and there, especially with that last arc. I remember it was a couple fill-in artists. So again, this Scott Snyder run is pretty much the only one where 99% of the book is entirely one artist. And boy, were we spoiled. Boy, were we spoiled. Anyways, let's get into the books themselves. So the first major story arc, the Court of Owls story arc, Scott Snyder just making his imprint on Batman, starting off not with a Joker story, not with a run-of-the-mill, let's introduce blah, 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 blah. This is a completely new villain, a completely new tone shift of Batman. The book is pretty much being like, oh, damn, Batman does not know Gotham as well as he thought he did, because he let a whole undercover owl Jeffrey Epstein thing run undercover him without him even knowing. And yeah, the Court of Owls had a lasting imprint on the Batman mythos since 2011. They've appeared in multiple TV shows. They were in the animated stuff. There's like rumors people really want Court of Owls to appear in the Matt Reeves movies, and I think that like I definitely agree with that. But yeah, this is like if Scott Snyder's legacy, in my opinion, is Court of Owls. If there's one thing like the general populace knows of the Batman mythos that Scott Snyder had an involvement in, it's 100% Court of Owls. There's so many memorable moments in this book. Obviously, the one people talk about is when he gets drugged. You gotta flip the book upside down to understand what's going on. And apparently that wasn't even intentional. It was like a printing error. I'm pretty sure Scott Snyder said that wasn't like intentional, that he was gonna flip the book upside down. And then look at that. Like, that's crazy. I love that's like one of the most memorable things in this series for sure. Just the horror, just the gothic styles. Like, look at that. Like, look at that cover. What a great cover that is. Just what a great cover. There's also like, it's kind of a weird trend of like Batman just beating the shit out of one of his Robins, and I don't know if this was the start of that trend, but I think out of all the times he smacked a Robin, I'm not saying this justified. I'm saying this probably is the most justified one, because that's when you realize that Dick Grayson has that like an owl thing in his tooth. In the second book, there's this crazy battle with all the Talons and Batman in his armored suit. They're all breaking into the Batcave and he's fighting them off. It's an absolutely insane battle. You also get like these interesting backup stories about this other like girl and her brother, and we also see like this different New 52 version of the origin of Mr. Freeze, which, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one, to be honest. It's definitely a different origin. I don't think like I don't know if they retconned it or something, because it is it's more to do with his mother, and I don't know. It's kind of weird. There's another kind of plot twist reveal that I won't spoil. I'll let you read that for yourself. Let's just say there's a certain individual that gets revealed to be someone, and I don't even think they went anywhere with that at the end. Like, it just kind of happened, and I think it kind of got discarded, and no one really cared about it afterwards. But yeah, just overall, this is a great introduction to the series, the City of Owls storylines. If you get one, you have to get the other to understand it. But yeah, great introduction, and Scott Snyder really started this run off with a bang, with a massive imprint to the Batman lore, and I think it worked. And people say this is like his best work. People always say the City of Owls stuff is his best stuff, and well, I probably don't agree with that. I'll say it's definitely high up, like definitely high up for sure. Alrighty, Death of the Family. Of course, the second you get on Batman, you eventually do a Joker story. And I think out of all the Joker stories that have been done in the last 15 years, this is the best one. If you compare like War of Jokes and Riddles from Tom King, Joker War from James Tinian, and I believe Chip Zdarsky did something called like Joker Year One. I haven't read that one yet, but yeah, if you compare all those, I think this is still the best one, to be honest. This one is insane, absolutely insane. Scott Snyder does not hold back. Look at this cover. I remember my mom looking at this cover, and she was like, she thought I was like mentally unwell because like, why would we even own this in our house? Like, it's insane. Essentially, in Detective Comics #1 back in 2011, Joker cuts off his face, and then he staples it back on to his face, and he's just a complete maniac. And he ends up kidnapping the Bat family, and tells Batman, "Yo, I cut off their faces too, man. What are you gonna do about it?" And Batman has to figure his way out of that one. One of my favorite, most memorable parts about this book is Joker's entrance into the GCPD. The lights just go black. You see the silhouette, and Jim Gordon's like, "No, not you. Let's go black." And you just hear crack, snap. You just hear the Joker walking through the room, killing everyone. It's just Jim Gordon left. He turns on the lights, and Batman's there. Like, what an insane entrance, reintroduction to the Joker. It really sets the tone for this version of the Joker. He just does not care. He's just insane. He'll scare the shit out of you. He'll kill you. He'll do everything to you. He'll cut off your face. But yeah, this definitely has some of the most gory and disturbing stuff in this run. Dude is just punching Joker's skin off. Crazy. Just nuts. Yeah, and again, I'm not really going to go too deep into the plot of this one. Again, it's just something you got to read for yourself. You just got to experience this for yourself. It's a good read. Trust me on that one. The art is fantastic. I don't even know if I should talk about the art in this series because what is there to say about the art? It's fantastic. It's great. It's colored beautifully. It's inked beautifully. Everything is great. Look at that. Crazy. Just crazy. Just absolutely insane. And yeah, this is another solid like 9.5 out of 10 Batman story arc. Just absolutely like, yeah. If you're going to do a Joker story, this is the way to go, 100%. Okay, now we're going to go to what I think is the most underrated part of this arc, and that is Zero Year. The New 52's origin of Batman, the New 52's version of his first few years, where Riddler takes over of Gotham and does his thing. And these two books are fantastic. People say it went on for too long. It shouldn't have been like 10, 12 issues. I disagree. I think these books are paced perfectly. I was never bored, was never tired of it. These two books are great. If there's one thing that I'm pretty sure everyone can agree, and in my opinion, this is the best art in the entire series, especially in the second volume, the Dark City part of the story arc, when Riddler takes over the city. FCO's colors, like first off, look at that. Just look at that. Like absolutely insane. But when Riddler officially takes over the city, spoilers, he takes over the city at some point. The colors are just absolutely ridiculous. Like look at that. Just look at that. He just knocked it out of the park. FCO knocked it out of the park. I'm not trying to discredit Greg Capullo, but I'm saying like look at the colors. Because I'm saying people always, oh Greg Capullo, that. He's a great artist. He's a great penciler. I'm so excited for Creech, but I mean, come on guys, like these just pop. These just pop. Best art in the entire series, in my opinion. It's just, you know, you're so used to seeing Batman in the dark. He's in the shadows. It's at night. This completely switches the script. I had this on my computer wallpaper for like a year, like this one right here. It's just truly beautiful. Just truly beautiful. Honestly, the most underrated arc in the entire run. People be hating on this, in my opinion, but it's so good. The Riddler is great in this, and yeah, it's just, I highly recommend these two books for sure. Alrighty, now we're gonna get to volume 6. This book isn't really a complete story arc at all. It's just a bunch of collections of stories throughout the series that wasn't published in any of these guys. So they published in this kind of, forgotten stepchild of a book. This one has Batman 0, 18, 19, 20, 28, 34, and Batman Annual 2. So yeah, just a bunch of stories kind of jammed together in this book. Not necessarily bad, but probably the least essential book of the entire series. You get a really dark story with Batman and Superman and like this ghost, very dark. And you get a really nice story about Joker before he became Joker. He was a Red Hood at the time, or Red something. I think it was Red Hood, right? Yeah, Red Hat. I don't know, but there's that. And then you get a Batman Clayface story too, which was also very fun. Very also another just such well drawn stuff. Like just so well drawn, man. Just absolutely so well drawn. You just can't get over this art, bro. You just can't. You just stare at this art. Even if the bubbles weren't there, even if the words weren't there, the art is just so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So that was pretty much just filler to get to the next story arc, which is the infamous Endgame. Endgame. But before we get to Endgame, let's kind of trickle back for a second, because after Death of the Family, that was obviously Volume 3. Endgame is Volume 7, right? Volumes 4 and 5 was the serious stuff. Volume 6 was the filler stuff. So when Volumes 4 and 5 of Batman was coming out, that was prequel stuff. That was what happened in the past. So what was happening in the present timeline of Batman between Death in the Family and Endgame? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Batman Eternal. Batman Eternal was a weekly title that released, well, every week, I think in 2014. So pretty much the year that Death in the Family to Endgame was coming out, they were releasing these guys. These guys. This is thick. This is very thick. This is 50 issues. We got 10 volumes of Batman, New 52. That's 52 issues. These were also 52 issues, and you pretty much get it in like it's a little compendium right here. A little mini compendium. And if I'm being honest with you, this Batman Eternal stuff is the most recent stuff I've read from this line. I read these about a year ago, and quite frankly, I don't remember a damn thing from them. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I do not remember a damn thing. I remember the art in the first 3 or so issues of these was fantastic. James Gordon was framed for a crime that he may or may not have committed. Let's do a little art of that. Yeah, James Gordon was framed, and that's what I remember. This part I remember. This part and this part, I genuinely have no idea. And again, this is the most recent book series that I've read in this series. So I'm just going to kind of flip through this and see if anything kind of jogs my memory. I just remember that like so much things were going on. This series just went everywhere. It went to like every member of the Bat family. If there was a person that was around in that time period of Batman, that person was in this series. Each issue kind of focused on a different person. I remember there was one character where like her dad was a criminal and she found out her dad was a criminal and then her dad was trying to kill her. That's like one thing I remember. Oh yeah, Hush was in this? I completely forgot Hush was here. But I don't even remember how Hush got in here, but I can almost guarantee you this Hush story was probably 10 times better than the crap that we're getting from Hush 2 with Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb in 2025 and 2026. Oh gosh, I don't even remember what this is, but I'm probably this was better than whatever Hush stuff we're getting now. And genuinely, I have no idea how this book ends. So I'm just gonna go to like the last issue and see if anything kind of just jogs my memory. Yeah, I don't remember any of this. Like truly, I have no memory of any of this. So there's that, yeah. When it comes to Batman Eternal, it's not essential. It's very filler. I don't remember hating it. I don't remember loving it. I don't remember having any opinion on this, to be honest. But I mean, I did read it all, so that means it couldn't be that bad if if I read it all. So would I recommend this? Sure, why not? Give it a read if you can find these issues for a reasonable price, and you want some Batman filler stuff. You want some Bat Family filler stuff. It's probably not the worst way in the world to spend your time. But yeah, I don't really remember having an opinion on this. And again, keep in mind, this is the most recent Batman stuff from this series that I've read. I've read most of this stuff a couple years ago, and I remember the most recent one the least. So that probably goes to show how much this stuff is really matters. And again, this is written by, I believe, like Scott Snyder and James Tynion. Like there was a whole team of writers because they were releasing it every week. Um, but yeah, who are some of the artists on this one? Obviously, there was Jason Fabak, who was an artist. Um, but I'm just going to read off some names right here. Let's see. James Tynion, Scott Snyder, Ray Fox, John Layman, Tim Seeley, art by Jason Fabak, Dustin Nguyen, Gilliam March, Michael Jin, Andy Clark, Trevor McCarthy, Emmanuel Samoli, Richard Barucci, E.M. Bertum. So what are some other names here? R.M. Gurja, Fernando Persajan, Tim Seeley, Jason Fabak, Kyle Higgins. Isn't Kyle Higgins the guy who did Radiant Black? It's Kyle Higgins, right? Ray Fox, Team Seeley. Yeah. So these are the folks that worked on this. And yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. Okay, now to the big dog. Endgame. This is the final showdown. Again, kind of crazy because if we're just going straight about the 10 volumes of New 52, canonically, you go from Death in the Family straight to Endgame. Technically, Death in the Family straight to Endgame, so it's kind of a back-to-back Joker thing that kind of happens. And yeah, this is insane. The book pretty much starts off with Joker mind controlling the entire Justice League, turning them all against Batman. So he kind of does kind of a Tower of Babel maneuver and takes them all down systematically. And then, like, yeah, just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Kind of interesting because stuff like Court of Owls and Death in the Family, that's also dark. Like visually, it's very dark. It takes place at night. And then when you move into Zero Year and now this, like a lot of the stuff takes place in the daytime. Kind of like in Batman Begins, a lot of the movie takes place at night. And then in Dark Knights, it like half of it takes place at night, and Dark Knight Rises, like pretty much the entire movie takes place, not entire movie, but a big portion of the movie takes place in the day. It's a very bright looking movie. So very interesting how, yeah, just gradually in the series, more things happen during the day. Get this very unsettling shot of Joker swimming, very unsettling. Um, yeah. So listen, this is a pretty much a Joker causes chaos for the 15,000th time story, and it ends. This is kind of a major spoiler, so let's just get that out of the way. Spoiler alert: Joker does this contraption. Him and Batman are in a cave, and Batman. Look at that. The thing I remember is a big story point is trying to figure out if Joker's immortal or not, because Batman like sees him in a picture from like 200 years ago and he's supposed to die and he's coming back. So the question was like, is he immortal? Was he in Ra's al Ghul's pit? And and essentially the story ends with the two of them dying. Both of them are dead. Both of them are dead. And Batman's like, yeah, I'm just gonna rest here a while with my friend as they're both lying dead in this cave. And did I mention spoilers? Oh yeah, Batman is dead. Um, and Alfred gets his hand cut off. Like, damn. I'm sure people reading that at the time was like, oh my god, how could you cut off Alfred's hand? Boy, wait in a couple years when not only does Alfred has no hand, man has no neck. So you think the hand is bad? Wait till you find out what happens to his neck. But yeah, quite an insane story. Something I very much enjoyed. Some people weren't too big of a fan of how big scale it was, because a criticism Scott Snyder always has is he makes things too big. Like everything has to escalate into something cosmic, something crazy. This was kind of the beginning of things just escalating, going crazy. More balls to the walls. Not fully there yet, but like not as crazy as like the Justice League stuff or the Metal stuff. But kind of hints of Scott Snyder going like boom. Still a very, 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 very enjoyable book. Joker looks quite dapper in this picture right here. And yeah, they're both dead. What happens next? I'll tell you what happens. Jim Gordon becomes Batman. Crazy. Let's just admire this image for a second because, like, look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, again, this is another kind of story arc where people were kind of mixed on, they weren't a big fan of Jim Gordon being Batman. I didn't hate it. This is probably my least favorite story arc, yes, but I mean, like, it's like an 8 out of 10. Still a great story arc, just happens to be my least favorite, you know what I mean? But again, like, look at the colors in this, man, just absolutely amazing. So yeah, this issue is pretty much this arc is pretty much Jim Gordon trying to maneuver his way around being Batman. He gets the infamous bunny suit that everyone always doesn't seem to like. You know, haha. Um, I say probably my biggest issue with this arc is they just bring Bruce Wayne back way too quickly. Like he's dead in one issue, and then like 2 issues later he comes back, and like obviously he was gonna come back. Obviously Batman is gonna return in Bruce Wayne. Like obviously that was gonna happen. But like give us some suspense, you know. Like you don't have to, bring him back literally in the following issue. Um, and then you see he's with another lady. He has another life, and yeah, I just wish they kind of held off on that just a bit longer. But that's pretty much my only major issue with this book. It just looks beautiful. Oh yeah, we get introduced to a new villain called Bloom. Bloom. This is, yeah. Which leads us into the next issue, Volume 9, is Bloom. And we get this very fascinating conversation with Joker, who is, looks a bit more reformed, and Bruce Wayne. They're talking. Joker's trying to kill himself. Batman's trying to stop him. Bruce Wayne officially takes the Batman cowl back. He kind of clones himself. I don't even want to get into the logistics of how he comes back, the method he comes back. It's very confusing. Has to do with like cloning and bringing a new body, and it's the whole thing. But he's back. Jim Gordon's not in the mat. Jim Gordon's gone. Bruce Wayne is back, and it's a wild story arc. Like, look at that. That's just crazy. Insane story arc. Um, Again, it didn't really feel like. Again, everything did feel kind of sudden because Bruce Wayne died, then he comes back, and then he becomes Batman in a relatively quick span of time. Obviously, it was going to happen at some point, but it just happened way quicker than anticipated. And yeah, a very, very insane arc. If I'm being honest, this is probably the arc of the series that I remember the least of. So I'm just trying to flick through and get some memory back. But yeah, very nice. And then we get to the Volume 10, the last volume of this series. And kind of like Volume 6, the majority of this book is just kind of filled with a bunch of filler stuff. The last real issue here is issue 51, called Gotham Is. And it is truly a beautiful closer. It's just a love letter to this entire series, where Batman is pretty much going through Gotham, trying to find crime, trying to find something to do, and just for one day, there's peace. Just for one night, he can just chill on a gargoyle and just relax. Take a little break for one night. It's genuinely a beautiful closer to this entire series. Even Joker is like, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill just for one day. One more day, not tonight. I'm gonna chill. And it kind of sucks because the book ends like this, and then in the Tom King run, the run right after it, he just shows up again and in a different Joker thing. And I don't really know if there was ever kind of a through line figuring out how we got from here to that Joker, which is very unfortunate because it's such an interesting place to leave him. And he just comes back. I actually think he came back in Dark Knight's Metal as the Joker. And I forget. I don't know if they mentioned it in Dark Knight's Metal, to be honest. Which, yeah, I wish they kind of explored that more. But yeah, what a fantastic way to end the series of just Batman going through Gotham, trying to find something to do, and he can't because just for one night, there's peace. Just for one night. Very lovely, beautifully drawn issue. And then we get the revised Rebirth suit with the purple cape. Just absolutely beautiful. And the gold chest thing. Again, just fantastic stuff. So what a great closer. But we are not done yet because there's one more book. The official closer to the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, FCO, Jonathan Galapian run, Last Night on Earth. This is pretty much the Dark Knight Returns of the Scott Snyder Batman run. It's pretty much the, what else? It's the concluding chapter to this entire run. Boy, is it a journey. It is a crazy journey. It's essentially a very, very, very long and extensive road trip. And I kind of don't want to get into it. Let's just say a lot of people show up. A lot of people look differently. It's a crazy thing. Like, let's just look at that. Just look at that. I'm not going to give you guys any context to what this is, but just look at that. Also, another infamous thing in this book is he's carrying a Joker head. The Joker head. He's carrying that around with him on his journey. It's crazy. It's crazy. Because Scott Snyder was like really just throwing everything at the wall, and honestly, it worked. Yeah, this truly is a crazy book. Just a crazy. It just is a crazy book. That's all I have to say. It looks fantastic. These guys did a fantastic job. One of the last, or pretty much this and Death Metal is the last book the four of these guys worked on. I believe. I believe that's correct. Yeah, pretty much that. And yeah, what a crazy book. So you can't really read the dark like when you're reading this run, you could totally skip the Batman Eternal stuff, but I do not recommend you skip this. This is a you got to read this to fully see what happens to these guys in this like Snyder universe of Batman. So many crazy stuff happens in this book, man. It's insane. Who the villain is, the reveal of that, you're gonna be like, what? It's a lot. It's a lot to take in for sure. But like, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Just an absolutely insane book. And yeah, look at these again. People love to give Scott Snyder credit, as he should get credit, as Greg Capullo should get credit, but it's not just those two guys. It's these other two guys as well. Don't ever forget about the inker, never forget about the colorist. These guys made this series what it was. My camera is at 5%. It's 4:50 in the morning, and I've been recording for 52 minutes. So if you came this far, thank you so much for listening to me yap about like 14 books for pretty much an hour. I don't know how long the edited down version of this will be, but I really appreciate you guys sticking through for this long. If you did end up watching all the way through this video, in the comment section, write down the word FCO. Yes, for FCO. His last name is like Placenta or something. I don't know, something. R.I.P. FCO, not because he died, but because he had a falling out with Greg Capullo over the Deadpool, the dead no, not over the Wolverine revenge stuff. He had a falling out with him. So hopefully they work together again. I don't think they will. I don't know, but yeah. Those three guys, FCO, Greg Capullo, and Jonathan Glapion, the last work they ever did was on Dark Knight's Death Metal. Hopefully they reunite again. But yeah, if you made it to this video, comment down FCO, and then I know you made it to made it to the end of the video, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Overall, this is a fantastic run. This is pretty much the run that made me start collecting Batman stuff and graphic novels, and just made me kind of getting out of just getting one or two issues here, and just starting to intentionally collect fully arcs, full runs, full series. You know, looking to get runs with an artist and a writer, just one artist, one writer doing the whole thing. You know, stuff like Walking Dead, stuff like Spawn, where it was like Todd McFarlane and Greg Capullo, and yeah, they did a great job. They really did a great job. I don't know if, to be honest, I'm not too sure if Scott Snyder has written anything better than this. Definitely not the Justice League stuff, not Metal, not We Have Demons. Honestly, I haven't read Absolute Batman, to be honest. I know I'm crazy. I've read every other Batman book except Absolute Batman. I'll eventually get to it at some point. Just what a fantastic run. It really set the tone. It really set the standard to what a Batman run should be. And pretty much every modern Batman run now is going to get compared to this. It will just get compared to this. Tom King will get compared to this. James Tynion will get compared to this. Jim Zdarsky will get compared to this. Matt Fraction will get compared to this. And I don't blame him, because this is a great run, a great beginning, middle, and end. I feel like Scott Snyder actually sat down before I don't know if it's true or not, but I just feel that like he sat down before he began writing this series, and it's like, this is what I want. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want him to die here. I want him to come back here. X, Y, and Z. He actually planned it out. It didn't feel like he was just making up stuff on the fly, you know, like a lot of Tom King stuff that we'll get to in another video. But this run felt very intentional. It felt very just on point. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there was any wasted space. Even the stuff I didn't love from this run, even stuff I didn't love, like Super Heavy, it still felt really good. It was a change of pace. It was something new. It looked great. Stuff like Batman Eternal, it's readable. It's, you know, you won't be bored probably. It's not the worst thing in the world, not the best thing in the world, but it's good. There was never a bad thing from this entire arc, honestly. But yeah, my camera is at 2% now. I'm gonna log off. If you came to the end of the video, type in FCO. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get out a Tom King retrospective the next week or so. And yeah, good night.